spending 45 days in Chevy Impala, it's because this is all about democracy. And this is so important because our founding fathers, they set up this country because they didn't want a king. And if you don't want a king, the only way you can make that work is if we all see what's going on so we can make informed decisions. Now, it sounds all idealistic and all that. And when I was a reporter, I didn't really think of it that way. You just do the day-to-day work and just think you're writing stories. But now that I've been able to step back and watch, I just see how important this is to keeping government honest. If you all work here, and that includes the pesky citizens, the gadflies. If you all work here, if you weren't sitting in on those public meetings and there was nobody in that room, you know what's going to happen. I mean, we're going to have a secret government. And we might as well just kiss off democracy. We might as well just give it up and try, do what other countries have done. Because the natural state and tendency of government is information control, is control. And the only way we have to push back and make sure that we don't get to where it spreads and we just become a banana republic or a communist Russia. So it's really all about that. That's why we're here today, to prevent our country from losing track of what it's doing. And y'all are special for being here because you believe in it. Now it's a state of mind. We have to get in the right state of mind, and I do mean Donald Trump. And we have to think like Donald Trump. We all have better hair than Donald Trump, but we don't want to be arrogant. But Donald Trump is in charge of his organization. He's the CEO. He can walk in, you can look at records and say, "Are you working hard for me? Are you? If you're not, you're fired." And we're the CEO of this nation, of our government, of the U.S. of A. Inc. We're in charge. And we get to see what people are doing, and if they aren't, we can fire them. And we have to believe that. We have to live that, because that's how our government's set up. In Arizona, you might have heard, a little phrase we have nowadays. It's "show me your papers." Hear that? Yeah. It's a little controversial, but whatever. It's Arizona. It's a dry gate. The thing about this phrase is, while the government can come up to us and ask us, "Show us your papers," to see if we're legal and we're legit and on the up and up, the turnabout is fact. We can ask the government, "Show me your papers. Are you legal? Are you legit? Are you on the up and up?" We have those rights. We have the responsibility to ask them. And not just show me your papers, but show me our papers. Because we paid for all these records with our tax dollars. We're just paying them to take care of them and get them out for us when we want to see them. That's how this is. So we got to remember that as we talk about this. But clearly there are some exemptions. There are reasons for secrecy, and that's cool. But now the presumption is openness. That's what we have to remember. And it's powerful. This is just powerful stuff. For journalists, a third of our news stories are based on public records and meetings, based on an SPJ study, a study of thousands of front pages and newscasts. So we rely on this for the day-to-day news that we provide people. Not to mention all the Pulitzer Prize-winning pieces and investigations and things that win lots of awards. It's just amazing the work being done. And I know some journalists are real demoralized today. Newsrooms are cut in half from when they were years ago. But we're still doing phenomenal work, folks. I just judged the investigative reporting category for SPJ's national contest. 50 entries, incredible series of projects, investigative reporting. And I walked away with two things. One, I'm going to do editorial cartoons next year, because that's just way too much to read. And two, there are some great things being done in this country to help people understand what's going on in their community. It's just phenomenal. Journalism is not dead, folks. It is not dead. And it is even more important than ever that we do it well. Career advancement. Frankly, if you're really good at getting public records, you're going to go far in this world. Whether it's in journalism or any other career. My wife was a journalist, and now she works at the library. And they think she's a wizard. She can just go find information instantly, even faster than the librarian. And And she's not trained as a librarian, she's trained as a journalist. And not let alone just writing it up quickly too. So these skills will help you in any career you have. Anybody ever been spun or lied to ever? You know, I'm convinced 90% of freedom of information advocates became that way because they were screwed over by I keep hearing that over and over. People are kind of, and they get fired up. They get fired up, and they want to, take on the establishment. Well, we can do that through public records. And it's unfortunate, a lot of journalists today, they just rely on press releases and what people tell them. And that's not good enough, folks. We can't just rely on that for our news. We have to get the goods, the real documents, so we can't be used to manipulate mouthpieces. And we're just tools for the government, and just overall tools. And that's just not good. Online reader engagement. A lot of news organizations are getting great records and great data, putting it on their websites and driving readers. People love this stuff, particularly the public safety-oriented records, crime, inspection data, restaurants, daycares, nursing homes. You can grab a lot of that for free right from the internet, from government agencies, put it on your website. How many of you in newsrooms put data on your websites? What kind of data do you put up?
Search marks.
Search marks, cool. Those are great documents. Not enough people look at search marks.
We just did the statewide recipes, health inspections. We also have recipes.
Not restaurants?
Restaurants and cafeterias. It's something that Channel 12 has sort of done for a long time, but we've got a huge page activity.
People love that. Now, does it include just the ratings, or does it include the inspector's reports?
It'll tell you what they were selling.
Does it have the handwritten PDFs?
No, ours doesn't.
The PDFs of the handwritten ones. Okay, we can talk about that in a second. What else? Salary databases. Now, those are the most popular databases out there. Every place I've talked to puts those up. People just flock to it. I think it's really just nosy employees looking at their coworkers. But you know what? It's important to be on it because I think people ought to be able to look down it. And if they see the governor's cousin on there, or the mayor's best friend making X amount, $30,000 for something, and they know that person's not doing anything, that's how we ferret out corruption. That has to be public now, or else they can, we'll have nepotism and other issues. Everyday life. And in your handouts on pages 5 through 13, I've got lists and lists of public records that just to give you ideas of things that you might be interested in. Some of them are practical for everyday life or reporting, like background in your date. I have a colleague who's dating, and he took a look at this and go, oh yeah, I can look up my date in the court records. And he did. Well, in Arizona, it's all online, free. You can just put someone's name in, and it has almost all the counties included. It doesn't have all the detailed files. You have to go to the courthouse for that. But it gives you a starting point. Put her name in, sure enough. She had a long history of theft and fraud. So, how to buy a house. I have a checklist of about 30 records I use whenever I buy a home. I look at the neighborhood, I check it out. Once we looked at a house next to this open space, and I looked at the 6-year road plan, there was a big major arterial plan right there. So we didn't buy that house. Once I looked at another house, and I went to the airport and looked at their maps and their plans. They were going to adjust a runway and would make the neighborhood real noisy. We didn't buy that house. We have to inform ourselves, folks, because the realtors aren't going to tell us that. The seller's not going to tell us that. We have to learn it ourselves. It's powerful.